Hey, you crazy cats! 42's live streams and videos are simply not available on vinyl. You will have to go to the YouTubes for that. So if you want content about British traditions and culture, cutting edge social commentary from an unapologetically patriotic perspective, along with a side order of madness you simply will not find anywhere else, then this is the place for you. And to all those early adapters in the chat, don't forget to hit the notification bell. That's how you get the good stuff and make sure you never miss a tasty treat. So with that being said and done, squeeze yourself in. Let's get into it. You know you want to. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Please delete as applicable because the internet is worldwide. Time zones are indeed a thing. Can I get a wee audio check in the chat, please? And I'll do a couple of shout outs. And have a cough. As soon as I start talking, my front track, weird as fuck. Anyway, let's see. What have we got? Linda Hunter was first in from down under. Welcome aboard. Pack is in 07. Techie Woo was in with that 6 minutes to go. Billy Blogs, I fucking love this. At 20 past, I sticks it in the Scrubs live post, live show now. Billy Blogs, it isn't live. I'm like, holy fuck. But I love his commitment, the accuracy, because for a few minutes it was inaccurate, and Billy Blogs called it out. I fucking love it. In 90 seconds, Bass is in. What about it, chum? Mr. Burger. Glad to have you aboard. Love your comments as always. I'll come back to that. I don't know. Angling, evening, brother. Topplers. The audio's good. What about flat Earth and mud floods? Yeah, I have heard something about mud floods. I'm not the expert on it. My considered opinion about the shape of the Earth is there's a bunch of people who think the Earth's round. I think they're wrong. There's a bunch of people who think the Earth's flat. I think they're wrong. You have a bunch of people who think it's shaped more like a rugby ball. I think they're wrong. The Earth is shaped whatever shape fucked is. That's what shape Earth is. Fucked. Because it's inhabited by fucking lunatics that have got the power. So that's where we're at with that. One second. Couple of what the fuck is Imbolc? Well, we're going to get into all of that. It's festival happens this time of the year, and we're going to get into all of that. That's quite good. And yeah, here's the thing. People credit me with more knowledge about how to work Telegram than I actually have. So there's Scrub Lifeboat comes in, and I just click and post in whatever the fuck it is comes in. I don't know how to switch between the two of them. I don't really care. And the majority of the times that I'm in there, I'm either dropping a link for a show or I've had somebody's at me. If you want me in there for an opinion on something, just at me and I will appear. Like, the mud floods will add in the cracks and fill up the dungeons. Yes, it will indeed. The mud will do all sorts of things. The mud that I'm most interested in is Mississippi mud pie. I do like a bit of mud pie. I like any sort of chocolate cake. Chocolate cakes are my thing. With that, I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping, bit of liquid. What have we got? I, I might actually go back and see if we can find it, but the other thing is, it's really hard to fucking find stuff that has been posted on that because there's so much volume of stuff. And a lot of it's very funny, but a lot of it's just not me. There we go. Now, tomorrow night, Rags and Jack London, I presume, will have a guest. I do not have any clue who it is. No, don't apologise for that spamming. That's fine, Billy. We're all good. Yep. Jack and Rags will have a guest on from 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. Who else want to give a shout out to? RPW Media on a Friday night does a good show. Keeps you up to date with what's going on in America. Guys, very quick with it. Good show. I've been hanging out there lately. RPW, if you are Rich, if you are listening, I have an email to send you. I meant to do it before this show, but I had technical issues and had to sort that. But I'm emailing you directly after the show. Who else? Wally FM Radio is streaming UK times evenings. Listen to radio and a good bit of chat with decent people. So if you want that, there's that. Robin, Courage is a Cure. Australian girl, covers worldwide madness with the world of woke and new policies and draconian measures is being put on top of us. If you want kept up with that, Courage is a Cure's your girl. Have I anything else other than I think that's about? Oh yes, and the other one. It's just been, to be totally honest with you, I've changed how I go about my day-to-day habits, and the way it's left is on Friday evening. I tend to be lurking about, doing housework, doing my washing and tidying and shit, and whenever that's on, so it's really good to have that lurk on, and I've been enjoying that. Then, yes, and the other thing, the deal, the Waffle House, the home of the legendary Friday night duck race, which is a really good competition. You can get ducks either by taking part in the show, by putting comments at when you ducks. If you're not part of the setup, you'll not understand this, but get yourself involved and you'll enjoy it. You can also get ducks by leaving comments underneath the stream, and you can also obviously buy ducks. The Friday night duck race, it's really good fun, and the crack in the chat is absolutely brilliant. I will say one thing about the Waffle House. It came out that people the weekend were attempting to say that Dave is a grifter. And I'm not going to get into any of the nuts and bolts of it. All I'm going to say is, if Dave's a grifter, then I'm his accomplice. And here's a crack. I don't do super chats. I don't monetize. I don't, because that's my thing. Other YouTubers do, and I think good on them. So if you have at any time thought, do you know what, I would love to give 42 a super chat and a bit of support, you know what to do? Jump in the Waffle House, stick a pound in the super chat right on it, quack for 42, and buy me a fucking duck. because although I don't take super chats for a very limited period, I will take ducks, and hopefully Dave will do the right thing and give them to me so that I have a fucking army of 42 swarming forward to win the bastard duck race. And one of the very cool prizes that are becoming part of all that scene. And with that, the rant be over. Yep. So with exactly, Billy. Do you know what? Here's the thing. See, after I got the Belfast City Council to do the International Men's Day event, the Northern Ireland Human Rights Commission were talking to me, asking me to fill in forms to get funding so that I could create an org and go to meetings 3-4 days a week with policing partnerships, with crime and safety partnerships, with the health department, with the suicide prevention people, with all that. And I was like, I can't go to those meetings because I've got a full-time job. No problem, we'll get you funding. I could have been funded and just doing activism stuff all day, every day on 30 to 40 grand a year for doing that. However, it would mean that I would be beholden on them, because after 4 years after the funding allocation, and it had to be reapplied for, if I hadn't said what they wanted me to say, I would obviously not get the funding, and then I would be totally fucked. And that's exactly how that's how Griffin works, not by fucking getting the odd super chat here and there, racing fucking ducks. People need to wise themselves right up. And with that, I'm going to calm down and relax, and I think we will have a little musical interlude before we go any further and get into the subject, because we need a palate cleanser, and the Muppets are always good for that. So we're going to do that. Yep. And we can let all that digest in the chat.
The devil went to Jamaica. He was looking to sell some weed. He was doing fine. They were standing in line. It was excellent weed indeed. When he came across this young man who was likewise peddling pot, and the devil slid down the beach to the kid and said, "Boy, let me tell you what. I guess you kind of figured I'm a reefer head, of course. And after all this time, I guess that I'm a connoisseur of sorts. Now, your stuff smells okay, but this could tranquilize a horse. I'll bet $1 million in cash against your stash, because I think mine's better than yours." The boy said, "My name's Johnny, and you ain't smoked nothing yet. One hit of this grass will kick your ass. You got yourself a bet. Johnny, roll a ball of hash and make sure it's the bomb, because the devil's got the kind of stuff they smoked in Vietnam. You'll get $1 million smackaroos in cash if you can cope, but if you can't, the devil will get your dope." The devil packed a bong with a little Acapulco gold, and resin flew from his fingertips as he fired up his bowl. He filled that chamber all the way, and he took a mighty hit. As they passed it back and forth, it gave them both a coughing fit. Damn. When the bowl was finished, Johnny said, "Hey man, that stuff was great, but fill your lungs with some of this and prepare to vegetate." Cannabis, sativa, sweet Mary Jane. The devil's in the backyard crying his brain. Zigzag filled with a diggity dank. Hold on tight, it'll hit you like a tank. The devil nodded off because he knew that he was stoned, and he asked if he could buy an ounce of the stuff that Johnny owned. Johnny said, devil, just come on back if you ever want to catch a buzz. I done told you once, you son of a bitch, mine's the best there ever was. And they fired up doobies one by one. Ain't it gonna stop till the bag is done. Green as a bullfrog, sticky as glue. Granny, do you get high? Yes, I do.
Okay, that was a nice little musical interlude by the Muppets. And with that, we're going to get into our subject for the evening, which is Imbolc and Candlemas, how they interact with each other, which actually is quite interesting. What we're looking at is how the festivals have merged from one to the other with the same people, how they've changed. You've got a continuity of people taking actions at the same time of year, ritualistically for a very, very long time. And well, it's pre-Reformation, so it's all that stuff's Catholic. Also, we're going to have a little look at St Bridget, who's involved in all of this somehow, and we may even have a look at how our history is delivered to us in such a way that it is deliberately confusing, and the reasons for that being that a whole bunch of the what they've done with the history, particularly of Wales, which I will possibly point out, is it's like you've got a jigsaw to put together and it doesn't all quite fit. So you start chopping bits off and sticking them here, there, and wherever just to fill up the spaces because their actual factual history does not fit with their narrative of history. So there's that going on. But with that, we'll start off with Imbolc and its festivals. If I can find my link. Did have a little bit of a technical issue just prior to the stream, and we had to move some stuff about, but here we go. Yep, Imbolc coming right up. And this is from history.com. StreamYard. Share screen. There's a nice picture of a sun with fire god. We'll go down to here. I'll have a look at how this is looking on the screen. Quite large enough. Slims all over it. Lighting of fires and candles, symbolizing the return of the sun and banishing the darkness of the winter, similar to what you see often in winter solstice rituals. Yes, they're all very connected, Slim. We'll have winter solstice, then we have Imbolc, which is the quarter day, and then we have the spring equinox, which brings us into May Day, and that type of thing. And Imbolic's on, it's all that whole lineage of things. So Imbolc is a public holiday, and I'm going to go through this and I'll point out where it's fucking wrong. Imbolc is a pagan holiday celebrated from February the 1st through sundown, February the 2nd, based on a Celtic tradition. This is highly doubtful. It is more likely to be a British tradition, and began before any Celts arrived here. Imbolc was meant to mark or the other thing is, it could be possible that most of the peoples of Western Europe, Celtic or otherwise, because there were indeed people in Western Europe that were not Celts, had similar festivals at the same time. Imbolc was meant to mark the halfway point between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. Yes, it is, and it's called a quarter day. For those of you that wish to know, and those of you that don't wish to know are going to have to find out anyway, but the two solstices are the longest and shortest days of the year. Summer solstice, the longest day, 21st of June. Winter solstice is the shortest day on the 21st of December. Then we have the equinoxes, which are halfway in between, which is when we have 12 hours of light and 12 hours of dark. That will be like round your May Day celebrations, and the winter one will be round about your Halloween celebrations. So that's, and our year was split up into things. It's pretty much like at the end of the month where you need to take stock and make sure that you're on track with what you need to have gathered together for your next celebration. In Neolithic Ireland and Scotland, this holiday is celebrated by Wiccans and other practitioners of neo-pagan and pagan-influenced religions. Imbolc is one of several pre-Christian holidays highlighting some aspect of winter and sunlight or heralding the change of the seasons. And with that, I'm going to check the chat.
Stonehenge is a mysterious ancient monument, isolated deep in the English countryside.
I can't shut it off!
To this day, no one.
Oh, I can pause it there. Sorry. I will now check the chat. Yep, Slim's all over again. Right. Oh, fuck. Now I need to cough. Right. Where was I? The celebration of Imbolc dates back to pre-Christian era of the British Isles. The earliest mentions of Imbolc in Irish literature were found around the 10th century. This messes me up, as I wish they would actually just put the fucking date. 10th century. Poetry from that time relates to the holiday of the ewe's milk with the implication of purification. It's been speculated that this ritual stems from the breeding cycle of sheep and the beginning of lactation. The holiday was traditionally aligned with the first day of spring and the idea of rebirth. And in these calendar wheels, we've got three different, at least two first days of spring. So this doesn't all join up. Similar to the Welsh history and the Scottish history, it doesn't all just gel together properly. So we are looking at a couple of influences going on here. Imbolc celebrations took the form of a festival in honor of pagan goddess Bridget, who was evoked in fertility blessings and oversaw poetry, crafts, and prophecy. Bridget was worshipped by the Flind, a class of poets and historians among the Celts of ancient Ireland and Britain. Small problem. There were no Celts in ancient Ireland or Britain. In fact, the word Celt The word Celt didn't arrive until 250, or not, it was about 535 before Christ, and Stonehenge is a couple of thousand years before that, and we'll have dwellings from long before that. So the people who were in ancient Britain were Britons, not Celts. Bridget was considered one of the most powerful Celtic gods. The daughter. Oh, the other thing is, this calls into question as to whether or not Bridget was actually a god of the Britannic people. Just threw that one out there because they have decided to identify as Celtic, and therefore everything that they had was Celtic. So we need to be curious about this, if nothing else. The daughter of Dara, the oldest god of the Celtic pantheon, Tudor de Shannon. She had two sisters, also named Bridget. Bridget 1, Bridget 2, Bridget 3. I'm not sure how this works, though it's speculated that these sisters are meant to symbolize different aspects of the same goddess. Yes, and this is where we get our trilogy from, and this is why we had to have a trilogy in Catholicism, because we had a bunch of people who needed trilogies in their religion. Bridget appears in the saga Calf Magraturd and some other leprechaun bullshit. A purported history of Ireland, collected from various poems and texts in the 10th century. Yes, notice from poems, because if you're wanting to invent your history of your country out of whole text, you can't be dealing with those dates and times and places and verifiable facts. You've got to go with the narrative. So that's why it's from there. Missed by Bridget's birthday, she was born with a flame in her head and drank the milk of a mystical cow from the spirit world. Bridget is credited with the very first kneeling, a tradition wailing for the dead practiced at funerals by Irish and Scottish women. So she was the first wailer. One second, I'm going to check the comments. Yes, but the Gauls never lived in Britain, did they? They knew the Romans knew exactly who the Celts were, yet they called the people in Scotland Picts or Scoti, and they called the people in Wales Britons, and they called the people in Ulster Picts because although we were Cornithi, we were very, very similar to Picts. It's weird, mate, why they need to change the names and do it in a nobody thought Scots or Welsh were Celts until about 1825, 1830, whenever the academics got out. And nothing that comes back from that describes them as Celts or fucking Highlanders, Picts, whatever. In pre-Christian times, Imbolc and services began the night before February the 1st. Celebrants prepared for a visit from Bridget to their homes by crafting an effigy of the goddess from bundles of oats and rushes. The effigy was placed in a dress and put in a basket overnight. The day of Imbolc was celebrated by rituals including burning lamps and lighting of bonfires in tribute to Bridget, because we love a fucking bonfire. Over the centuries, Bridget was adopted into Christianity as St Bridget. Now, here's where we get a little bit Yep. One of Ireland's three patron saints. Well, we'll get that. The Catholic Church claims St Bridget was a historical person with accounts of her life written by monks dating back to the 8th century. Bridget is the patron saint of Irish nuns, newborns, midwives, dairymaids, and cattle. Now, that's all fine as it goes, but Ireland's three patron saints, two of which are not fucking saints. St Patrick was never canonised, and St Columba was never canonised. St Bridget is the only Ireland patron saint that actually is a saint. This is how good the grift goes. Like the goddess Bridget, St Bridget is associated with milk and fire. Born in Ireland around 453 AD, St Bridget was the daughter of a slave, similar to Patrick, and a chieftain who was celebrated at an early age, and she was celebrated at an early age for her agricultural knowledge. With no interest in marrying, Bridget's goal was to create a monastery in Kildare, supposedly the former site of a shrine to a Celtic goddess of the same name. Bridget lived her entire life there. She was renowned for her charity to the poor and stories about her healing powers. St Bridget was a friend of St Patrick. Fuck, well, that's strange because they can never actually kneel down when Patrick was, and I don't think he was as far south as Kildare. In fact, nobody thinks Patrick was that far south. In fact, nobody thinks he left Ulster. And last I looked, Kildare's not even in the fucking historic 9 county or even 10 county Ulster. Right, her friend St Patrick, whose preaching set her on her course at an early age to become Ireland's first nun. St Bridget is said to have died in 524 AD. The remains of her skull and hand are claimed to be in the possession of the Church of Portugal. If you've got skulls and hands, I would like to think you know exactly whose they are. In the 12th century, and this fucking praying and venerating bones, please stop with that shit. Go visit your family's graves, yes, and care for them. Please do that. That's important. But don't be going and praying to the bones of people that died very long ago. That's crazy shit. That's voodoo. In the 12th century, legend holds the nuns in Kildare intended a fire built in St Bridget's honour. The fire burned for 500 years and produced no ash, and only women were allowed in proximity of the fire. Do you think possibly there was ash and the women just all agreed to say there was none? That they were fucking shoveling it out on the QT? I think that's maybe how that went down. The celebration of St Bridget's Day, February 1st, take place in a church to replace Imbolc. On her feast day, an effigy of St Bridget of Kildare is traditionally washed in the ocean and surrounded by candles to dry, and stalks of wheat are transformed into crosses, cross talismans known as Bridget crosses. And I'm going to check the comments. Well, that's right. You got a second name, don't you? Mate, he's not even a saint. Not only is St Patrick not a saint, the reason why it's celebrated worldwide is they're celebrating the genocide of the Druids, or the British people, who are the snakes that St Patrick kicked out of Ireland. That's what they're celebrating and having a drink to. And that's why the Vatican never canonised them, because even only the Irish would be stupid enough to put their hands up and take the blame for that shit. Bridget over the river Kwai. Yeah, it is. Well, a genocide is defined as removing in part or in whole a religious group or set of beliefs. So, whenever you totally remove the Druid religions, you've committed a genocide. But I'm not even fucking reading that or looking up what the fuck a St Patrick's grave is. Oh, it can be an ethnic or a religious group. One of the things that indicates a genocide is changing the uh, disallowing uh, religious groups to have their own schools, which is what's happening in Northern Ireland with this fucking integrated education, which is absolutely fucking bullshit. And there's the Amara, and what about you, chum? Right. Modern Imbolc. The modern celebration of Imbolc is considered a low key, loose, and sometimes private affair concerned with reconnecting with nature. I love how they call that reconnecting with nature, and it's a bit fucking cool for it still at this time of year. Since it's a climate specific holiday, some followers of the Wiccan religion adjust their celebration of it to correspond with a date more appropriate to the coming of spring where they live. Others embrace the symbolism of the holiday and keep the February the 1st celebration. The goddess Bridget is central to the celebration for modern Wiccans. In the tradition of the original Celtic facing Wiccan groups that worship Bridget might include fire rituals on Imbolc. Traditions from both pagan celebrations of Imbolc and the Christian celebration of St Bridget's Day can be found in the modern Imbolc celebration. Celebrants sometimes make Bridget cross out of reeds as well as a Bridget corn doll or effigy. And those corn dolls and effigies are the same corn dolls that are made in spring and May Day and also at midsummer. So also at Halloween at the end of a fucking harvest. So what they're doing is they're just taking what traditions had and then spreading them across all of the religions or all of the celebrations. We're going to do a full thing on Candlemas, so we'll ignore that. Imbolc and Groundhog Day. This is actually quite interesting. February 2nd is also celebrated as Groundhog Day, which began in the United States in 1887. The idea is that a groundhog exists. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, people, my throat's going here. February 2nd is celebrated as Groundhog Day, which began in the United States in 1887. The idea is that a groundhog existing in its burrow can predict whether winter will stay or go based on the weather the groundhog sees in its shadow. The day was a stunt in the newspaper in Pennsylvania that has endured. So this was a newspaper advertisement. The whole started off the whole Groundhog Day, which is quite interesting. Although, as we will see in Candlemas, there is a tradition of how the weather is on this day, on this time of Imbolc, giving you a indication of what the weather's going to be. The other thing I will say about Imbolc is that at these celebrations where people will come along, there would still be hand tying and other such madness going on, and people going out into the nature to reacquaint themselves with the nature and fertility and enjoy themselves. With that, I'm going to close the Imbolc off and take a quick look at the chat. And yep, we're all good. And I think we will have a musical interlude. And I think we will have a sea shanty. Yep, we're going to find a sea shanty. Oh yes, the dreadnoughts. Just let this advertisement get past. And then we will have our musical interlude. This is Going Down to Old Maui.
"'Tis a damn tough life, full of toil and strife, we whalermen undergo. And we don't give a damn when the day is done, how hard the winds did blow. 'Cause we're homeward bound from the Arctic around, with a good ship taut and free. And we don't give a damn when we drink our rum with the girls of old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys, rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic around, rolling down to old Maui. Once more we sail with a northerly gale towards our island home. Our mainmast sprung, our whaling done, and we ain't got far to roam. 6 hellish months we passed away on the cold Kamchatka Sea. But now we're bound from the Arctic around, rolling down to old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys, rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic around, rolling down to old Maui. Once more we sail with a northerly gale to the ice and wind and rain. Them coconut fronts, them tropical lands we soon shall see again. Our stunsail's bones is carried away, what care we for that sound? A living gale is after us, thank God we're homeward bound. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys, rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic around, rolling down to old Maui. How soft the breeze through the island trees, now the ice is far astern. Them native maids, them tropical glades is awaiting our return. Even now their big brown eyes look out, hoping some fine day to see our baggy sails running for the gales, rolling down to old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys, rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic around, rolling down to old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys, rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic around, rolling down to old Maui.
There we go. That's all my way. That was the Dreadnoughts, a musical interlude. And I'm going to take a go at translating a little bit of Scottish. Where'd it go? I think this is what. Oh no. What did Amar say? Oh fuck! I don't know. I've lost all that. Right. I don't know what was going on. Right. Candlemas. Here we go. We're going to. So we've talked about Imbolc and the ancient festival, and now we're going to have a look at Candlemas, and I want to see what that's like on the screen, and it's very fucking small. Zoom that in. You've heard of Christmas, but have you ever heard of Candlemas or know what it celebrates? Observing Candlemas can be a great way of extending celebration of Jesus' birth each winter. First, in the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas, Christians celebrate a meditative Advent to prepare their heads and hearts for the holy day. And we did about that in December. Then we celebrate Jesus' incarnation on December 25th, which begins the 12 days of Christmas. And the observation ends on the 6th of January with the Feast of Epiphany, the 12th night, which turned out to be quite the raucous semi-orgy type affair. The observations around the birth of Christ not end there, however. Christians may also recognize Candlemas as another feast day in the following month. So what is Candlemas? Or what does it celebrate in terms of the incarnation of Jesus? I would just use the word birth there, please. I don't think we need incarnation. I think birth would have done sufficed. Let's see. Problems with the blog is sometimes you get a story. I've been a Christian for over 30 years and even thought to attend liturgical church. I'd never heard of Candlemas before conducting research. Well, I talk about it here every year, so you weren't here, were you, you silly car? To learn about special observations, we need to go back many hundreds of years to find its origin and purpose. Once you learn more about it, you may consider acknowledging the significance of Candlemas and create a special way to observe it yourself. Though you wouldn't know it from its title, Candlemas is the day it celebrates the events that took place 40 days after Jesus' nativity. Right, so the nativity is whenever he's born. 40 years later, he goes to the synagogue. In those days, Jewish families would travel to a temple in Jerusalem to perform rites called for in the Jewish law found in Exodus and Leviticus. After the birth of the child, mothers had to perform rites of purification, and a firstborn son was to be dedicated to the Lord as a rite of redemption. Right, so there's religious shit that had to be done in those days, and it celebrates the day that was done for Jesus. Joseph, Mary, and Jesus made this ritual trip to Bethlehem, as noted in Luke 2. Arriving in Jerusalem, many would have had to wash in a pool of natural water to be purified after giving birth. She would have been considered unclean because of the birth-related discharge. In the temple, do you know what? I don't know of anybody that goes through childbirth and thinks, fuck, you know what I really don't need? A bath or a wash. I think that the actual process of childbirth is going to put you in a state where you feel like you need a bit of a wash because you've been through an ordeal. But let's leave that there. In the temple, they would have followed the Mosaic law ceremony to consecrate Jesus to the Lord, offering a sacrifice of a pair of doves, or 2 young pigeons. Those would be given by families who were too poor to provide a lamb for the sacrifice. Quick note, none of these traditions have anything to do with Christianity. While Christianity does begin with the birth of Christ, it actually begins with the teachings of Christ. So this is a history lesson on Christianity, what happened before, and not of the Christian faith. The family couldn't provide a lamb to sacrifice to redeem their son, but the same son was a lamb that would one day be slain as a sacrifice for the sins of the world. Now this event is acknowledged by many liturgical churches each year, but where's it called Candlemas? According to Britannica, an annual celebration of Christ's dedication was held in Jerusalem as early as the 4th century of BC, but was celebrated on February the 14th. So we're getting into Valentine's Day, are we now? Are we now? By the 5th century, the Emperor Justinian had moved the date to February the 2nd, 40 days from Christmas Eve, because the Emperor could just do that shit, as can the Church of Rome, because it's not based in fact, it's what will suit. And we're into this thing where we chomp things or traditions about to make them fit. The custom of using lighting candles and naming ceremony Candlemas also began then. Similarly to Christmas, meaning Christmas, Candlemas is another way of saying Candlemas. It refers to the custom of the blessing giving candles to the congregation to light and carry as part of the procession, which would be a replication of the torches that are carried in some fire ceremonies at this same time of year. So what we're doing is we're trying to get this as close to the pagan as we can without being pagan. Candlemas may be called different names by different denominations. Anglicans call it the presentation of Christ in the temple. Yes, we do. Anglicans would be the Church of Ireland, Church of England. Personally, Church of Ireland. The presentation of Christ in the temple, that's what it is, because that's what had to be done. The Greek Orthodox Church calls it haspina, or meeting, and the Catholics call it the Feast of Presentation of our Lord. But because the Catholics have to make sure it's a feast day, because on their feast days they get a day off work. But some also call it the purification of the Blessed Virgin Mary. And I really hope she did not wait fucking 40 days for having a bath after giving birth. So I'm just going to check the chat. Yep, that's exactly what happened. Sorry, just checking the chat. Sorry, I'm going to skip on now to how it's celebrated. Different countries have their own way of celebrating Candlemas, if they celebrate at all. A few examples of the traditional practices, according to blah blah. Mexico's adornation of I've changed my mind about that source. It is not quite as interesting. It's less interesting for content than it seemed whenever I first looked at it. But I am going to have Strangely enough, the best fucking one of Candlemas I did find was from a shop. Yep. This is the old Christmas shoppy. And it's asking about Candlemas. And we're going to do this one instead. In the heart of winter, when the days are short and the nights long, there's a glimmer of hope that lights up the darkness, especially after Christmas lights come down. The ancient tradition known as Candlemas has been celebrated for centuries, and it continues to hold a special place in the hearts of many. Join us as we delve into the history, customs, and significance of Candlemas, and a relevant festival that warms the spurs during the coldest of seasons. And here we have a nice picture of a church with a lot of candles. Candlemas, also known as the Feast of Presentation of Jesus Christ and the Feast of Purification of the Virgin Mary, has deep roots in history and spirituality. It is celebrated on February 2nd, making it the 40th day of Christmas, a day when Mary and Joseph brought the infant Jesus to the temple in Jerusalem. The observance not only signifies the end of Christmas season, but also commemorates the presentation of Jesus in the temple as per the Jewish custom. The couple were poor, as such they did not have the traditional lamb, as well as a turtle, dove, or pigeon. This whole having to bring sacrifices sounds a bit of a grift to me. Yeah, I don't think you really need that. If your God needs you to murder some animals, not eat them, I think you need a new God. Instead, Mary brought the requirement for poor people, which was either 2 turtle doves or 2 pigeons, in addition to the purification of Mary that occurred during the presentation. Jesus was an acquaintance with the Mosaic law presented in the temple to redeem him as the firstborn son. This was required as a consequence of firstborn sons being saved by God during the plague. So, 1 second. Right. So, what's happened is we've got the Feast of Passover, where they had the daub of blood on the above the door, and then the firstborn son. So every time you have a firstborn, now you've got to bring to the synagogue and go, "Thank you for saving this one," and that's why that is. The name Candlemas itself derives from the practice of blessing and lighting candles during the church service on this day. These candles symbolize the light of Christ, dispelling the darkness both literally and spiritually. Traditional blessing candles is a solemn and beautiful ceremony where the candles are sanctified for use throughout the year. So they can sanctify a whole bunch of candles and then get people to pay to light them during the year. That's a bit of a grift as well. The centerpiece of Candlemas is, of course, the blessing of candles. The church and homes alike, candles are lit and blessed during a special ceremony. These blessed candles are believed to bring protection, warmth, and blessing to the homes throughout the year. In the same way that on New Year's, bringing a lump of coal will signify warming the house for the whole year, not just with that one lump of coal. In some parts of the world, particularly in Scotland, there is a charming custom called creeping of the candles. A member of the household, often the youngest, carries a candle while walking around the darkened house. This actually sounds like quite good fun. Yeah, it's your turn this year. You're the youngest. Now get you up those stairs and go into every room with this every room, and then people sneaking about behind them. And yeah, that seems like a really good bit of fun. This act symbolizes a return of light and the banishment of the shadows. Exactly what Imbolc does. So let's hope they are not afraid of the dark. Weather predictions. Candlemas is known in folklore for sounding the weather. The old saying goes, if Candlemas Day be fair and bright, winter will have another flight. If Candlemas Day be wind and rain, winter has gone and will not come again. So, and similar to Groundhog Day, what's the weather like in this day? If it's looking like it's still bright, it's still cold, 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 and it's going to get worse. But if there's a bit of rain about and it's just a bit chilly and gloomy, winter's on its way. People believe that the weather in Candlemas could predict the duration of winter. Certainly in Scotland, we know that winter rarely ends on the 2nd of February. No, it does not end in Northern Ireland either. In some countries, especially France, the association of crepes with Candlemas has both historical and practical origins. Legend has it that Pope Glutinus I in the 5th century distributed crepes to pilgrims who visited Rome on Candlemas Day. These crepes symbolized the round and golden sun, signifying the end of the winter and the arrival of spring. And here we're back with having sun gods again. The festival is also accompanied by superstitions. If the peasants did not make pancakes on Candlemas, the wheat would be bad the following year. So they're taking some produce of the wheat and using it, and I think if you don't make use of it, it'll not be good this year. So we'll have pancakes. The symbolism of light and renewal. Candlemas holds a profound symbolic meaning that transcends the boundaries of religion. It represents a triumph of light over darkness, of hope over despair, of renewal over stagnation. Basically, every other spring festival. What came first was neither chicken nor egg. It was the person having sex during the fucking spring ritual. Always happens. Hopefully, no chickens were involved. As we celebrate this festival, we are reminded that even in the darkest time, there is a spark within us that can light up our path. And this is actually quite important. We need to persevere through dark and dismal times and struggle. But we're British. We're either fucking, if you're Scottish, Welsh, English, Northern Irish, don't really give a fuck about them people down south. Your people are world champions at making the best out of a bad, shitty situation and making it work. And things like this, where we bring light into the darkness, remind us that there's a better day coming. We just need to keep walking towards it. In the depths of winter, Candlemas serves as a reminder spring is on the horizon. The days are longer and the earth begins to stir beneath its frosty surface. It's time to reflect on our own lives and to shed the darkness of our doubts and fears and welcome a light of new possibilities. And what I will also say is a really good time to take stock of what you put in place in January. Because I know that one of the things I said I was going to get better at in January was communication. And as you heard at the start of the show, I have an email that I was supposed to do before the show that didn't get done. So I still need to work on that. There's other personal things. I'm not exercising as much as I would like to be, and I need to get on that. Started off with the New Year celebrations and putting the plans in place, and recognize the bits that have done really well and the bits that I can still improve on. And so this gives you a chance to have a retake, have a rethink, assess where you're going, and improve yourself going forward. And with that, I'm going to check the chat. Sorry, I'm just checking the chat. Sorry, just see my pack of said. No, you have not. You're fine. Not nothing you've said there is blasphemous or outside the bounds of allowed conversation. Well, not allowed. Polite conversation. You haven't went past that. Yeah, I did read that bit. While some may view Candlemas as old-fashioned tradition, it continues to resonate with people in the modern era. In a world that often feels chaotic and uncertain, the simplicity and beauty of lighting the candle and seeking solace in the glow that can be powerful and comforting ritual. Many individuals and families still observe Candlemas in their own unique way. Some attend church services, while others have candlelit dinners and simply light a few candles at home. Regardless of how it's celebrated, the essence of Candlemas remains the same, a celebration of light, hope, and promise, and brighter days ahead. See what this is. So as we begin Candlemas, we are transported to a place where tradition and spirituality intertwine, and it's when the pause to reflect on the cycle of seasons, to embrace the light within it and look forward to the arrival of spring. So 2nd of February, lighter candles. So there we go. We have two festivals there. One Imbolc, one Candlemas. Both do the same thing. They're both celebrating new life and the turning of the cycle, and they both involve fire in to a certain degree. And this is just how we have changed in people as people in our celebrations throughout time. Now, 1 second, need to get some liquid. Oh, fuck. That's a fair interpretation. That's a fair interpretation. So, recap: Imbolc, Candlemas, two similar celebrations, and let's all take stock of things. We have the one person that straddles these two, Bridget. I'm going to have a musical interlude, and then we will talk a bit about St Bridget, and then we might have a crazy game to go as well. But I think what would be fitting at the minute would be a little bit of harmony, melody, and rhyme.
Hello, this is 42 speaking. Welcome to the Resistance. You are not alone, and we shall walk this journey together. What about you, chum? If one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. Let us gather together those that can perform, and from the scarred timbers build our own platform. From that grand house they tried to burn down, there's gold in the ashes if you look around. Let us gather together those that can perform, then from those scarred timbers build our own will sing for old time. Harmony, melody, and rhyme. We descended from minstrels in old days of yore. We will create a culture as we did once before, forced to stand by as our country was sold. Did you really think we'd leave that story untold? So one brings a guitar and one brings a voice. Then they stand together and make their own choice. They have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. They have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. Stand by as our country was sold. Did you really think we'd leave that story untold? We will sing words of wisdom. We will sing we will sing melody, rhyme. Harmony, melody, and rhyme. So one brings a guitar and one brings a voice. Then they stand together and make their own choice. I have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. You cannot kill a dream. So we will gather together those that can perform, and from the scarred timbers build our own platform. You're talking to 42. What about you, chum? If one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. Sing words of wisdom, we will sing for all time. We will sing for our people, harmony, melody, and rhyme. We will sing words of wisdom, we will sing for all time. We will sing for our people with the ancient trilogy of harmony, melody, rhyme. The sun each became a deity, independent parts of another trilogy. Is it a coincidence or is it just sublime that we now bring excellence in harmony, melody, and rhyme? With power and wealth, you control the mainstream, but you never realized you could not kill a dream. You cannot kill a dream. And we shall walk this journey together.
There we go. That was harmony, melody, and rhyme. With that, we're going to. So we've talked. Oh yes, that was us. That's how you know that we were all the same right across Britain, because we had the same religion and the same symbology, and we had the same fucking stone monuments to atone to our gods. We were the same. Well, thank you, Nicky. Who is sending me messages? Don't know. Right. Yes. So we will do a little bit on St Bridget, and we're going to take it from the. We're going to take it from the where the fuck. This is we've got the Britannica one. No, we don't want the Britannica one. We will have the Irish Heritage version. Sorry. Right. This is from our Irish Heritage, from the National Museum of Ireland, who have a very hard job because they're trying to fit lots of madness together into a coherent story, but it doesn't work because they made up half of it. And let's see, that is very small on the screen. But anyway, let's see what they're saying about St Bridget. And as always, I will give my opinions as I read. Bridge of Ireland, Irish saint, also known as St Bridget of Ireland, St Bridget of Ireland, blah, 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 blah. Right. Born 450 AD. I think this is too large. This is going to have to come down, Mum. Right. Fuck's sake. Sorry. Right, we'll Google that. Within Ireland, St Bridget's Day falls on the same feast day as Celtic goddess Bridget, traditionally a Gaelic festival in Imbolc on the 1st and 2nd of February. The season of Imbolc was a festival that marked the beginning of spring, which has been celebrated since ancient times. This is where you get to realize that whenever I'm trying to find my research for all this, I do get to read the same thing a lot of fucking different times. Now, why I wanted this, we'll talk a bit about this, but now I've got a source for it. A cross quarter day, midpoint between winter solstice and spring equinox, it may fall between the 2nd and 7th of February, because the year, our calendar year, is not consistent, because we have 12 months instead of 13, so days change each year. When Ireland was Christianized during the 5th century, Christianized, strange way to say when the genocide of the Druids occurred, but anyway, during the 5th century, Goddess Bridget's mantle was passed on to St Bridget. She founded a monastery in Kildare. Norman chronicler Gerard of Wales reported during the 12th century that a company of nuns attended an inextinguishable fire in Kildare in St Bridget's honour. This is the fire we heard about earlier that produced no fucking ash. The fire had been burning for 500 years and the fire produced no ash. Men were not allowed near the fire because, like everything else, it's sexist and has been for a very fucking long time. And the people were excluded were not the women. St Bridget's Day, with its origin in Celtic Imbolc, was a festival for fertility and marked the beginning of spring within Ireland. It signalled the end of the darkness of winter and then ushered in a new season of hope and growth, which we have talked about before. No celebration would have been complete without a festive meal. Bridget was a pagan goddess associated with acts of healing, pottery, and blacksmithing. She featured in pre-Christian Irish mythology as a daughter of Drogba, who possessed control over life, death, and weather, and also time. Bridget's roots lay in a Celtic festival Imbolc and a feast of the goddess Bridget. The old Irish Imbolc meant in the belly, reference to lambing with spring renewal. Also, fertility and childbirth and all of that stuff. Bridget was a triple goddess of healing, fire, and pottery. Her namesake, St Bridget, was born in 450 AD, continued the same associations. Her name may be translated as the Exalted One. She was a patron saint of poets and midwives, and she maintained a sacred fire by the monastery she founded in Kildare. St Bridget, born in the Dog, 450 AD, also known as Mary of Gale, was raised in patroness of Ireland. She founded the first Irish monastery in County Kildare. Rush becomes St Bridget's emblem. St Bridget, Bridget of Kildare, Bridget of Ireland, born 451, was one of Ireland's most iconic Irish Christian nuns. Are these all the same people? Oh yes, this is the three Bridgets that all combine into one person. Ninth Bird, or St Bridget of Kildare, 451, one of Ireland's patron saints. They're reusing the same person three times. St Bridget convinced the King of Leinster to relinquish as much land as her cloak could cover. Seeing her small cloak, the king granted her request. Friends of St Bridget grabbed the edges of the cloak while the king watched in awe. They walked north, east, south, and west and stretched the cloak across a huge distance. Following the miracle, her request was granted. Maybe did that cloak have many, many, many folds, sort of like a kilt? Like a massive tent? Would that be it? What they did for the miracle? Heaven forbid that. St Bridget's bed was produced from rushes in certain areas of the country as an invitation to the saint to rest on January 31st. Families celebrated the beginning of the spring with a hearty meal of a supper of potatoes and freshly churned butter. The same meal they had every fucking day. But like in the Falklands, where they have lamb 365, in Ireland they have potato 365. That's what you're having today. The same thing you had yesterday. It's potatoes. It may also have included fresh apple cakes and barnbrack and tea. Apple cake's really good. Barnbrack is a form of bread that has different fruits and stuff mixed through it. I really do not like fucking dry fruit in my bread. I think that's mad. Prominent folklore, Sean O'Shibla. The main significance of the Feast of St. Bridget would seem to be that it was a Christianization of one of the focal points of the agricultural year in Ireland, the starting point of preparations for the spring showing. Every manifestation, well, see, we started getting ready for spring at the start of January, but we haven't done very much. So we've got to go, right, lads, time to get fucking motivated and get moving. The legend? St. Bridget designed the cross herself. She visited an old pagan chieftain. Several versions describe him as her father. Yes. So, Daddy, how do you make a cross? Like this. At his last moments on his deathbed, servants called Bridget to soothe and calm him. She sat beside him, talking to him while she picked up the rushes from the floor and weaved them by hand into a cross. When the chieftain noticed the cross, he asked her about it. St Bridget provided the explanation. He willingly converted to Christianity and was baptized prior to his demise. What were the fucking chances? What were the chances? Another fucking chieftain that suddenly became Christian at death. I think you make this shit up. And of course, there are plenty of witnesses there to verify all this. St Bridget's cross meaning is multi-layered and possibly held its roots in the pagan sunwheel, meant to bless the earth with fertility and life. The centerpiece recalled the movement of the stars as the year passed. It evoked how the Big Dipper rotated slowly around the North Star. We're not going to do that. Display. When completed, the crosses were sprinkled with holy water. A prayer may have been recited. May the blessing of God the Father and the Holy Ghost and cross be on you where these things hang, where everyone looks. This is part of the Catholic tradition that becomes very similar to voodoo, where we take ordinary objects and make them holy for no reason other than we did some mumbo of the jumbo. And this is what we moved away from whenever we had the Reformation. And this is where the difference between Protestantism and Catholicism comes in. The biggest one obviously being purgatory. And the second biggest one is the beliefs that are not in the book and are based on superstition. Traditional placement of St Bridget's cross was above the front door inside of a thatched roof. This century one may simply hang it on the inside of the front door or over the doorway. It is usual to keep a new cross for the entire year until the arrival of next St Bridget's Day, at which point it will be burnt. On the Feast of Imbolc, the festival of pagan goddess Bridget, marks the beginning of spring. People wove crosses to display on their doors and rafters of their home and ward off fire and evil. Crosses were usually woven out of rushes or perhaps straw that consisted of the central square surrounding the arms of right angles. In addition to the shamrock and Celtic harp, Bridget's cross is a national symbol of Ireland. In pre-Christian Ireland, February is the date of Imbolc Festival, a holiday associated with agriculture and the beginning of spring. Ireland's only female saint, Bridget of Kildare, their only fucking patron saint that was sainted, was born right. That we've heard. Brit Bride. Biddy boys were going to do. Within the west of Ireland, Biddy boys carried a large straw belt called a cross bread or St Bridget's guide. People stepped through it and passed it over their bodies whilst they recited the prayer of St Bridget for protection from illness. Can you get closer to witchcraft? Especially in Kerry, elaborate processions were held when bands of men and children dressed in straw and often travelled from house to house with a biddy, which is also sounding a bit similar to the Straw Bear Festival, where the Straw Bear would go from house to house. Maybe did use pinch a bit of an English tradition, just saying. Customs. A traditional St Bridget's Day meal was a supper of potatoes and freshly churned butter. Oftentimes, calacarim was made by adding chopped cabbage. Blech. Do not put cabbage in your potatoes. If you're going to do that, make some champ. Scallions, that's what you want. Nice chopped up, thinly scallions. Mix them in your mash. Fucking oh. I think sausages and champ and gravy may be on my menu for dinner very soon. Yes. Apple cakes or barnbrack followed with tea. A family would meet together as they produced their crosses. Within several areas, it was custom to provide St Bridget cross as a gift to those with a new home or to newlyweds to wish the couple their start well in starting their family and also for protection. Leftover material from production of crosses may have been sprinkled on the land or incorporated into spancels or bedding for animals. Crops were often incorporated into crosses, such as a potato or sheaf ripe corn. Previous years' dried crosses may have been crushed and sprinkled on the land. So there you go. There is all about St Bridget. I'm going to knock those down and I'm going to see what the chat's doing. Yeah, not cabbage. Spring onions, or as I call them, scallions. Emma G and I do have that conversation. They are scallions, not spring onions, but that's what you English people call them. How are we doing for time? 1:31. And now, oh, this is all working out very good. This is with a little quick one that we're going to do. Oh, yes, we do. We have got a weird game. Do we have the... Yeah, we're going to have to just go this. Zoom that in. I'm glad we've got Ian in because we might need him for a bit of translation. But the Jara ball game, you're going to like this one. Jabra ball game. The ball game is essentially a form of street football. Some of the action taking place in the streets around the marketplace shown in the picture above. That's Jabra Marketplace. Today the game is played at Candlemas and at Easter Ironbark by two opposing teams. The ancient ball game, known as Jared Handball, popular throughout medieval Scotland, supposedly derives from the Jadborough men playing with the heads of English soldiers after a battle. Now, I know for a fact that not that long ago, in Iraq, an English soldier once kicked a head, and there was all sorts of fucking retributions and claims of, but yeah, no, whenever it's an English soldier's head from a previous war and it's Scottish people playing a game with it, we make sure that the game survives. Because our complaints are not about the actions, they're about who it was did the action and who the action was perpetrated again. But anyway, let's let that go. The traditional ball game, which has been played in the border town for 250 years, pits the uppies, that's the residents of the higher part of Jedburgh, against the downies, that's the residents of the bottom half. So the town's on a hill, the people at the top play against the people at the bottom. The game uses a leather ball stuffed with straw and decorated with ribbons. And I've got a video coming up about this. The ball is thrown rugby style into a group of men who then proceed to move it through the streets. It can move up alleyways, into yards, up the street, and can be concealed or thrown for someone to catch and run with. The aim of the game, which has its current form since 1700s, is to heel the ball to the respective side of the town. The boys play a couple of hours before the men take over, and it is usually 400s to participate. With that, I'm going to get the video up. Here we go. I'm going to stop this video quite early into it and give a translation.
I mean, I like speaking to Doonies. What way did you come into together today?
Right. Check this out for a start. You heard what I said earlier about the game and the uppies and the downies. I'm going to translate this.
I mean, I like speaking to Doonies. What way did you come into together today?
So, right at the very start, he's straight into that. He's definitely an uppie. He doesn't like the downies, and he wants to know what way this film crew entered the town, because which way they entered the town dictates whether they're going to be an uppie or a downy, and he does not like the downies at all. Cracking bit of rivalry there, but right, I'll let this play on.
It's a great thing. Everybody gets involved in it. Everybody, young, fit, old and strong, old and daft. They're all here. This is the game. It means a lot. There's a great identity between the uppies and the doonies, and that depends on which side of the market cross you were born, or which side of the market cross you came into the town for, determines what your team, if you like. And as I say, 5 to 12, there's nobody here. Nobody's got to turn up. When's anybody coming? 12 o'clock chimes, the street fills with the youths ready to go, and it's just fantastic to see everybody turn out. There's 13 hails here for the market cross, and that hail has to either get scored at the castle gates by the uppies, or it gets rolled over the drain at the skip run and burn St Bridget. And that's a score, and that score will filter its way back. Sometimes the ball doesn't come back, sometimes it's smuggled and kept forever. But so there's a lot in it, and there's a great pride in having scored.
Well, I've got my good name to keep up. I'm a ball player, so hit again in.
Sorry, how old are you?
79. No brain, no pain, they said. That's what the wife said.
He's 79 and he's still getting involved in there. Don't you just fucking love it? And this is what happens whenever people realize that their customs and traditions are important, but the only way that they stay important and relevant is by people taking part. And I can guarantee you, if the numbers were there, he'd be nowhere near it. But there ain't enough younger men doing it, so he has to.
Well, I've been in there all day, keeping warm. It means everything to me. I've done it since I was a laddie. I was born just up behind the cross there. And I think I got injected with it when my mother leaned us out the window when I was living up there when I was 5-year-old. And ever since, I've been doing the bit. I love it. Things become proper and all that. You see it here. We just carry on. Let it go. Bring the ball to the cross. You want to play? Hear it. Get on with it. And that's the melee that you get. It's tight in there. Some big laddies, rugby boys and international rugby players and God knows what in there. Can you not turn and go that way? I describe it in a way that you've got to be born to it. Because if you come along and you've got any brains, you wouldn't have gone in it. It's organised chaos, as you said before. But the simple reason is there is an end to it. There's a reason that you go into it to get the ball, and it's pride. How have you got to stop that? Who wants to stop it? And the thing is, you have to fight your whole way to keep your head above the water to keep it going. And by hell, they'll have to drown me if they want to stop it. Then I'll come back and bloody haunt them if they stop it.
I would be interested in seeing what that was like 10 or 15 years ago or 30 years ago. But I think it would have been a lot larger. Yeah, sorry, I'm just checking through the chat. Yep, right. So there we go. There's that. What time are we on? I've done 141. My throat is going. I think I think I'm going to call this a little bit short. What I will do is I'll play a bit of music. Yes. We will have a bit of we'll have the Anglo-Saxon. Hello, you're listening to 42's letter to the Anglo-Saxons. When you spread this message, you are the resistance. The Anglo-Saxon. The Anglo-Saxon shook his head sharply, his hair dislodging droplets of sweat from the back of his neck, the produce of moving a carcass to the workbench. The sharpened blades and cleavers felt natural in his hand. The carcass divided to his will. The Anglo-Saxon's muscle memory was that of a warrior. His body was lost to the toil, but his mind wandered to memories that were not his own. An intruder startled the Anglo-Saxon. However, before him was not the meadows and glades of his ancestors, but a butcher's shop window. While politely serving the customer, the Anglo-Saxon mourned the loss of a kingdom he had never known, of the rituals and customs that were lost long before his grandparents were even born. Outside, the street was a bustle. He knew there were others like him, ones who carried the warrior's pride. Amongst them he would find the rightful place of an Anglo-Saxon. The Anglo-Saxon.
It was not preached to the crowd, it was not taught by the state. No man spoke it aloud when the Anglo-Saxons began to hate. It was not suddenly bred, it will not swiftly abate. Through the chill years ahead, when the time shall count from the date that the Anglo-Saxons began to hate. When time shall count from the date the Anglo-Saxons began to hate.
Game over.
That's I'm really pleased with how that all came out. I'm quite amazed with it. All Mac worked wonders. I will say. Following on from all of that, what I will say is, it seems to me that there are two groups of people in this country. There are those who want to know how the rules work, and they want the same rules to be applied to everybody. And they have a lot of a feeling of fair's fair. And they become angry, upset, confused whenever they look at things and they go, that's not fair. And we've got another bunch of people who like to manipulate the rules, change the definitions in order to suit their end goal. Those people, I put it to you, are the descendants of the Normans that come in, and the people like us who want the fair state and one set of rules are the descendants of the Britons, the Picts, the Scali, the Carnithia and Ulster, and the Anglo-Saxons, the Angles, the Saxons, the Jutes come over and all amalgamated to become the British people. And that, I believe, is where the divided line is. I could be wrong. I've been wrong about things before, and no doubt I will be wrong again, but that would be my opinion. And that's where the difference is. And that's how you can tell them. Now, anything else? No. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the other one for an outro, and that will be us for the evening. And here we go. So this is the Ballad of Ballard, and I will put your comments up on the stream, or up on the screen. Sorry.
Ballad from Miss Ballad. Gets darker. The deeper you go down.
The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And the finder of lost children.
You will need a light to guide you, and an angel to walk beside you. I dare you to go down. You want to know the truth, don't you?
I find the evil and the greedy under every turn of rock, where I spit out the truth, the establishment mock. From all sides, I watch the opposition grow, trying to terminate the information flow. But the good book reminds me that I am blessed, protected and guided during every quest. In the valley of darkness, my way is clear. I carry a big stick and I show no fear. So prepare yourself for eternal damnation. In your nest of vipers I found my vocation. Are we so deaf that we cannot hear the screams of the children? Are we so blind that we cannot see? We are living in the depths of depravity. Are we so inept we let monsters roam, fueled on power and adrenaline? Are we so weak we cannot fight back, beholden to our masters? The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. But blessed is he who in the name of charity or goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness. For he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children.
finder of lost children. The righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. But blessed is he who in the name of charity or goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. The finder of lost children. The rabbit hole. I dare you to go down.
Okay, everybody, that's me. I've been 42. You lot in the chat have been fucking amazing as always. See you all next week. Good night. God bless. I'm out of here. Goodbye.